Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Major Rostermania drama going down over the last 48 hours or so, with rumours emerging that TenZ was not in Sentinels' most recent set of scrims, potentially trialling another new player into their roster. No TenZ raised the question, why? Where's TenZ going? Is he going to retire? Is he going to leave the team? Is he going to get dropped? What's happening? Turns out, of course, none of that is actually the case, with TenZ saying that after just getting back from Japan, he is currently rather jet-lagged, and therefore he's got a couple of days off to recover, while Sentinels still, however, practice to potentially figure out who might replace Sassy on their starting lineup next year. Very much interested your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. These are the players in Monterrey, Mexico, getting ready to go for Ascension in just a couple of days' time. The TSM boys are there. Of course, the M80 boys are there. And there are a number of teams that are potentially in the ballpark to be the favourites to win the entire thing. As it stands, the EMEA side is still continuing. This gets underway in just a couple of days. These are all the co-streamers as well that are going to be showing the Ascension for Americas over the coming couple of days. This, of course, is happening in the Pacific as well. 20th of September, this gets underway. And, these are all the teams of the various regions. It's in Jakarta, right? That's when it's being hosted. So that's kind of why they have what looks like a massive tsunami, an earthquake that's just happened here in Jakarta, which is now spreading out. And, funnily enough, the team that's based there is called Boom. So that all kind of works nicely. But, look, these are all the teams, also Revenant from kind of the South Asian region, which you guys couldn't quite see but is now on the screen. This is how things are going, by the way, in EMEA. So, look, the final three teams have now been determined. They will go to, a bigger stage to make these final games happen. And as we talked about, right, it's Apex that have got the job done. We know that the Ultimates, the Saudi Arabian team, they got, bopped out 2-0-2-0 in the two games that they played. I wonder if that Job Life team will feel like in hindsight they could have done a better job. Maybe they could have done, but obviously after all the drama that happens there. But the reality is that Apex are looking pretty strong to make it all the way through. They 2-0'd both their games so far, and this shouldn't really be a surprise. I mean, this team should be the one to qualify. Kajak, of course, has been a very highly rated Polish duelist now for a very long time. Obviously, Avova, Solcas, players that you'll definitely know. And on the other side of things, it's either going to be the loser of that series that we just saw, or it's going to be the Turkish boys. So, look, lots of Turkish talent, of course, but Apex are, still the heavy favourites to win it, and on the 15th of September they're going to be in the grand finals to try to do exactly that in a best of 5, and if they win this one, then of course they qualify for Ascension for next season and potentially beyond, as long as they do well enough next year to maintain that. This was pretty interesting that I noted as well. So Kaysan here from FaZe, one of the content creators over there, says people need to put some respect on Halo, and FaZe TenZ asks, what do I need to do for FaZe to get a roster in Val? And he says we're working on it. It's complicated, but there's a possibility. So FaZe is such a strange org to me in many ways, because they constantly appear to have no money and no resources, but all of a sudden, they're somehow able to, Counter-Strike and maybe Valorant and everything, they're still going to try and get involved in. So we'll see if that happens. Of course, it's difficult in Valorant because you're not just going to necessarily become a partner team, which they didn't initially anyway. So you've got to field the Challengers team, you've then got to win Challengers and qualify. It's just a big commitment for potentially not a massive return, but there's a question. Obviously if you win, it's a massive return, but the chances are pretty slim. But we've seen the likes of TSM getting back involved, so it's pretty interesting stuff. This I thought was funny as well. Alpha, and I think even Alpha made a comment on stream in some chat that it was like, if Boaster leaves, I'm leaving too. So it doesn't seem likely that these two are going to be going anywhere, but of course Derke is very much gone, and we'll discuss where he might go in the coming minutes, because there have been some interesting rumours with regard to that lately. But also this one's a former Lev head coach Goked has reached an agreement, it seems, to go to Gentle Mates, at least a verbal agreement that is what they're going to do. So pretty interesting stuff, right? Apparently he had other VCT offers on the table, but just kind of goes to show that Lev are obviously kind of falling apart on some level, but also Gentle Mates, after a solid season. I mean, look, they did a great job winning Ascension last year in the EMEA and getting through as they did. Obviously this year Apex are going to try and go one better than they could do last time around, but Gentle Mates made it in. But this year, of course, they need to step up, because if they don't, the way that it works now, you've got to qualify, internationally. If you qualify for champions, or certainly if you do well enough in your region, then you get to keep your spot. If you don't, you're going to get relegated. So Gentle Mates need to step it up next year. This is one of their plans to try and achieve exactly that. Another team that, of course, would love to be able to step it up is Loud, but that seems less and less likely. We know that Sarak is leaving, and reportedly Les has received multiple proposals elsewhere, and is definitely interested, given that seeming collapse of Loud in joining one of these other teams, right? It is rumours that there's no team that's that close to an agreement, and he's still signed until the end of 2025, and but apparently they are planning to go into next year probably with no less. Seems like he's going to go elsewhere. So, you know, if they lose Sadak, if they lose less, if they lose Cowanzan, because rumours that he's going to be sold off, it's like, where do Loud go from there? Do they start to then field an international roster, right? Is that actually what they have to do? Maybe, because I don't see, you know, Aspas wanting to come back on this evidence. I don't necessarily see Pankada wanting to stay on this evidence. It's a tricky one. Interestingly enough, because Sadak was heavily linked with Crew Esports the other day, but apparently many other teams, and to be fair, for good reason, are also talking with Sadak about potentially joining their team. He says that I've received offers from all regions, and he has not yet decided where he's going to go. So this is pretty interesting. We did say the other day, like, what if you are just hypothetically a team like Paper Rex? You know, could Sadak as an IGL be quite important for a team like that? Maybe, right? Maybe it's possible. But that seems, you know, too much to imagine could actually be true. But apparently there are teams in all regions that are giving Sadak the nod and saying, hey, we want you to in-game lead our roster. Crew Esports does make a lot of sense, to be fair, and he's confirmed that he's in talks with them, but it's far from a done deal on this one, as we'll see in a second. But let's talk about this Sentinels drama, because James F puts out, and look, what he says is true, but it's just like the implications are the question, right? So as of yesterday, Sentinels were scrimming without TenZ in their roster. They're trialing players, so the theory was, okay, are they cycling through players? And as James says, you know, it's still very, very likely that he's going to remain in the team, but it's kind of confusing, right? Why he wasn't there. And, you know, people were like, oh, he's in Japan. But he actually wasn't in Japan, but that is still part of the reason.
Do you have some time off to fix the jet lag, or are you already back to scrimming?
I have time off to fix my jet lag and chill for a bit.
So no TenZ in those scrims for a couple of days as he recovers from his holiday in Japan, and he's, you know, going to get out of the jet lag situation or whatever. It makes a fair bit of sense. But at the same time, SEN are still playing. They're still trialing, and we can see here they were playing against M80, and they're up 12-3 the other day. We can actually see, though, Zekken, Kaplan, Zelsis, and then we've got Chopped. So, you know, who is that? Some sort of alternate account of somebody? I don't know. But, of course, we're pretty sure that the team is going to be John.QT, Zelsis, Zekken, TenZ, +1, right? Sassy seems like he's going to go. They're going to get somebody else in instead. So what were they doing here, right? Like, who exactly was playing in the place of TenZ in this scrim set? And who was that fourth player, or the fifth player, that they were potentially trialing and working with to see how that was going to go? So very interesting, I think, developments right now on Sentinels. TenZ is going to get back in over the coming days, but it does seem like they're looking for a fifth man. The rumour was Narrate the other day, and I think even though some of the rumours that rocket bullets were fed were fake, the Narrate stuff does have some basis, we think, in reality, based on the fact that we saw Zekken and Narrate playing at ranked the other day, and you know, it seemed like he left after warming up to go to his alt account and potentially play a scrim trial. So it's very interesting to see how things go. And just to quickly update you guys on the latest from VCT Spreadsheets, who well, they definitely take their time a little bit more in terms of declaring something as fact. But we do have a couple of quick changes here to note. That Sadak's kind of announcement or potential move to Crew has reduced in likelihood based on the new rumours that he is potentially talking to multiple different teams. The Leviathan situation, though, is interesting because apparently that team, in addition to Loud, may be completely on the verge of collapse. With Aspas now moving down to unlikely, Com even moving down to a question mark, and Tex even moving down to a question mark too. So King is maybe going to stay. There were some rumours that Mazzino is going to come back, but, you know, maybe not based on what we saw from them. It seems pretty unlikely, to be fair. So Lev, it looks like, might be a full rebuild. And if it's true that maybe Tex is going to go and Com is going to go, obviously Mazzino's out and maybe King stays as the leader, is Aspas going to be happy with that? Probably not. So, you know, this roster period is going to be insane. In many respects, it already is. That's probably not going to change anytime soon. And just one interesting thing here on the Derke side, just because there's not that many ball players in the league, and as NRG say, no more messing around. The bold buff will save us in 2025, and there are a couple of, you know, maybe slightly photoshopped images of FNS and SOM over the last couple of days. But like, it's interesting, right? Because NRG with FNS and SOM did pick up a pretty promising EMEA duelist over the last couple of years. That man was Artist, right? And well, didn't always necessarily go to plan, but it was entertaining for sure. Maybe Derke's in a similar category, right? Is it impossible? Because NRG have been linked to Derke, and it does make a bit of sense. If they're not convinced, if FNS as the in-game leader and their new coach in Bonka is not convinced that Demon 1 is going to work properly with the team, they may think, you know what, sure, let's bring in Derke. They could keep Demon 1 as well and change the roles around, but, you know, there is an argument to be made there that Derke to NRG is someone they should consider, and, look, clearly Fnatic are open to offers, and it seems like that may well come true in the relatively near future. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.